Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Ilmu Sosial Prophetic. Glad to meet you back. I hope you are all happy. I hope you are all healthy in this pandemic situation. Okay, last week we have discussions about what is human in psychodynamics or psychoanalytics point of view. Yeah. Now we go to the next discussions, but still about human, what is human, but from the different perspective. It is from humanistic point of view. Okay, let's start by the saying or the quotation from the Carl Rogers. He is one of the humanistic approach experts. He said that the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. So Carl Rogers wants to say that human is very unique. Everybody have their own uniqueness. You are different with your father, with your mother, with your sister, with me, etc. And when you want to change, when you want to grow, first step that you have to do is to know yourself. And when you know yourself, you will accept yourself. Without accepting self, it is very difficult to change. So this is the start point of humanistic approach. First, you have to know yourself. You have to accept yourself, and then you can change. And that is the human. Human have the self-consciousness. Human have the self-consciousness, different from animals or different from the plant or different from the mountains, etc. They don't have self-consciousness. Only human who are aware with themselves, aware with their existence. So that's why human exists, because he or she is aware of himself or herself. Next. So in this discussions, first of all, we would like to explain about the background of humanistic point of view, how this point of view appear, started from the rejections to the inhuman determinisms, or dehumanizations of human. Later on, we will explain it later. And then the second about the basic assumption, the concept of humanistic here, with the point is that the human is free and can change, just like the Carl Rogers said. And then the third, the advantage and the weakness of this approach. Okay, now we go to the background. So before humanistic appear with the Abraham Maslow, Carl Rogers, Mihaly, and then existential philosophy like Sartre, etc. There are other theory that wants to explain about human, and we have the explanation of those theory. We have studied from evolutionists or behaviorists by Charles Darwin, that sees human as a biological creature. Human as a biological creature. So human is a part of the animal. So that's why maybe in educational theory, you will learn it later. In educational theories, teaching human is just like teaching animal. So some of the methods of teaching is from the experiment to the animal. Yeah, one of the experiment that is very famous is Pavlov. Pavlov, who have experiment with the dogs. Pavlov give the dogs with meats, and then next day Pavlov give the dog meats with the bell ringing, and then next day the dogs was not feed with the meats, but the only the ringing of the bell. However, the dogs still produce saliva. It means that dogs learn by the simulation, yes, by giving by stimulate the dog. And this experiment is implemented in learning and teaching. So learning and teaching is just like giving a stimulation, yeah, giving stimulations and then respond. So human learning and animal learning is not different. It is just the same. Yeah, this is based on the evolutionist and behaviorist, that human is part of the animal. Next, that the human is determined by the genetics and the evolution. Yeah. Human grow from the adaptation to the environment. As we know, in evolution, it said that it is only the fittest who will survive. Survivor of the fittest. Okay? Only the fittest who will survive. And the fittest of all is the one that can adapt to the change of the environment. Okay. Next, the psychodynamic or psychoanalysis by Sigmund Freud. Human is a psychological creator, according to Sigmund Freud. So human is a dynamics of psyche. Human is the dynamic of psyche, as we know that there are three forces in the psyche, according to Freud. The first is id, ego, and superego. Yeah. And then the human psyche is determined by early experience. Yeah, according to the Freud, our psyche, our psychological development depends on the experience when we were child. Yeah, so past experience will give more effect on our psychological growth. Those who have the traumas in their childhood, yeah, they will grow with the mental disorder, while those who have a healthy life in the early age, they will have a healthy psychology too. And then human grow from the dynamic of conflicts of internal and externals. In evolutionists, human grow because adapting to the external, to the environment, while according to Sigmund Freud, human grow because of the conflict between the internal and external, between the id and superego. And the ego as the self here grow because of that conflicts. Ego always find a solution for solving the conflict between id and ego. Okay, and from that dynamics, the human's psychology grow. Next, human is basically bad. According to Sigmund Freud, that we know the past experience tend to be traumatic and is repressed in the id. And it contain a lot of traumatic experience, contain a lot of transgressions, a lot of conflict, unresolved conflict, a lot of desire, yeah, unaccepted desire, etc. Okay. And then from that theory, evolutionist and psychodynamics, Humanistic reject them because they tend to be deterministic. Deterministic here, it means that it reject the human freedom. Yeah. In evolutionist, human is the object of environment. Human cannot escape from the influence of environment. Yeah, even environment here determine the human. When the human cannot adapt to the environment, human will not survive. Yeah, it means that external factor or environment is determine the human growth. While in psychodynamics, yeah, human is determined by the past, by the by the past experience. It is also about the external too, about the external. Yeah, external here because the early experience with the parents, with father, mother, etc. Okay. Now, humanistic here reject that. Humanistic sees that human is free. Human has a free will. It is not determined by the external factor like the evolutionists say, the environment, or just like the Sigmund Freud said, the id and superego. No, but human is free. Next, that human is unique. Human is unique. Human have unique characteristic between one another. They have a different, so they cannot be treated the same. It is not like behaviorists which using the stimulus and response, yeah, to make animal learning or to make a human learning, and then they expect the same result from that treatment. No, it is not like that. Okay, so it is different, or the same, or it is different from Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud tried to make a human all the bad, all human are bad because they repress the trauma, they repress the sexual desire, they repress the aggressivity, etc. No, not human such kinds of badness. Okay, but all humans are unique. And then the third, humanistic tend to see human as a holistic, not just as a part. Human is very complex, so we have to see them in a holistic way, secara menyeluruh. Yeah. It is not like the evolutionist who sees human just as a biological property, just as the genetics and evolutions. No, human is not the biologicals. Yes, biological entities, biological properties is part of the human, but it's only parts. Yeah. The same when Sigmund Freud said that human is determined by the id, by the psyche. Yeah, it is only part of the psyche. It is not all part of the human. Okay, so humanistic tend to see human in the whole aspect, not just the biological aspect, but also psychological aspect. And on psychological and biological aspect here is related each other, yeah, and they influence each other, etc. Okay, so human is not biologicals; it's also about the value, spiritual, etc. Okay. And next, that human grow from the innate motivation. Human grow from the innate motivation to self-actualize. So according to humanistic point of view, human will always change. Human tend to change to the better state, to the better situation, to the better solution, etc. Yeah. So human is always motivated to change, to self-actualize, to know the potential and to maximize the potential. Okay. Now, what about the prophetics? Prophetics, how the prophetics see the human. We will talk it in the next meetings. Okay. Now we go to next slide. Okay. So what are the basic assumptions, the concept of humanistic here in seeing the human? First, that humans or people are motivated to self-actualize. Okay. What is self-actualize? Self-actualization concerned with the psychological growth, fulfillment, and satisfactions in life. So human is always growing. Human always motivates to find better things, to grow into a better, to be satisfied, to be happy in life. Okay. And the growth and the fulfillment to have a satisfaction in life is a basic human motive. So manusia itu selalu berubah, berkembang, mencari suatu kepuasan, ya. Makanya tidak ada manusia yang sama, tidak ada manusia yang tetap, ya. Manusia selalu berubah. Ya. Nah, in philosophy of existential, like Sartre, he said that existence is becoming. Existence is becoming. Human is exist. It means that the human is always becoming. It means that the human is always in process. Manusia tidak pernah berhenti. Manusia selalu berubah, manusia selalu in proses. Ya. Artinya eksistensi itu maksudnya selalu in process, always becoming, ya. Bukan eksis. Eksis artinya itu aktif di media sosial dan sebagainya, bukan. Eksis di sini artinya dia selalu berproses menuju sesuatu yang baru, sesuatu yang lebih baik, ya. Selalu dalam proses on becoming, ya. Makanya tidak ada manusia yang final, itu tidak ada, ya. Tidak ada manusia yang final. Makanya kita harus bijak. Umpamanya kita tahu ada teman kita yang waduh ini kelakuannya luar biasa jelek, ya. Ingat, manusia tidak pernah berhenti, selalu bisa berubah. Siapa tahu nanti teman kita yang jelek itu, yang nakal itu ternyata besok menjadi orang soleh, lebih soleh daripada kita. Kalau bagi orang Islam, ya banyak cerita, umpamanya bagaimana siapa namanya, Khalid bin Walid, ya, itu orang musyrik yang memerangi Nabi Muhammad, ya, ternyata di akhir hidupnya itu justru menjadi Saifullah, pedangnya Allah, kayak gitu ya, yang membantu Nabi Muhammad untuk menang di setiap peperangan melawan orang kafir. Ya. Juga umpamanya ada Wahsy, seorang budak yang membunuh pamannya Nabi saja sampai benci. Tetapi ya bedanya sadar bahwa manusia itu bisa berubah. Ya. Akhirnya Allah memberikan hidayah, Wahsy menjadi Islam dan masuk surga bersama orang yang dibunuhnya. Ya, seperti itu. Jadi manusia akan selalu berubah, sehingga kita tidak bisa membuat judgement, ya, judgement final nggak bisa. Oh, kamu itu orang jahat ya, nanti selamanya kamu jahat, atau kamu jahat nanti masuk neraka. Waduh, itu jangan, itu memvonis orang masuk neraka itu sama dengan menggantikan peran Tuhan loh. Itu Tuhan bisa marah itu. Sing ngelebokke neraka ki aku ngelebokke neraka wong, gitu nggak bisa itu ya. Okay, go back to the assumptions that people are motivated to self-actualize, that people are always in becoming to a betterment. Next, people are basically good and have an innate need to make themselves and the world better. In humanistic point of view, human is sees in the positive way. Manusia itu pada dasarnya baik, ya. Manusia itu pada dasarnya baik. Sejelek apapun manusia itu pasti ada kebaikan di situ. Ya, kalau contohnya itu ya sejelek apapun orang maling itu, kalau dia punya anak pasti sayang sama anaknya, dia maling untuk anaknya dan dia tidak pengen anaknya itu menjadi maling seperti dia, kemarin seperti itu ya. Atau karena itu maka manusia sejahat apapun pasti punya dalam hatinya terbesit rasa salah, ya. Tidak ada manusia yang jahat 100% dari luar sampai dalamnya, itu enggak ada. Atau manusia yang baik 100% dari luar dalamnya itu juga enggak ada, ya. Oke. Tapi bagi humanistik, manusia itu dasarnya itu baik. Pada dasarnya itu adalah baik, tidak jahat. So personal worth of the individual, the centrality of the human values and the creative, active nature of human being is the center principle of humanistic. Oke, jadi pandangan positif tentang manusia yang sangat optimis dan fokus pada kemampuan manusia to overcome the hardship, pain, and despair. Itu juga prinsip dari humanistik, ya. Memandang manusia itu secara optimis, yang mampu untuk menghadapi secara kesulitan, menghadapi segala kesusahan untuk mengatasinya. Oke. Next, people have a free will. Manusia itu bebas. So this is also the basic principle of humanistics. When see human agency, human as the subject, ya, not as the object. Beda dengan evolusionis yang melihat manusia hanya sebagai objek alam. Manusia itu hanya menjadi objek dari id dan superego ala Sigmund Freud. No, but human is the subject. Human itu adalah subjek, dia punya keagenan, dia punya kemampuan to change. Nah, itu intinya agen. So personal agency is a humanistic term for the exercising of free will. Bedanya manusia dengan hewan itu juga di free will-nya, agensinya. Lah kan hewan bisa Pak memutuskan untuk umpamanya hewan kucing mau makan atau enggak, kan dia memutuskan. Atau hewan kucing mau nyerang tuannya atau enggak dan sebagainya, kan dia memutuskan. No, that is not a free will. That is instinct. Ya, itu bukan free will, itu adalah insting, instinktif. Ya, jadi bukan berasal dari kesadaran akan dirinya, bukan, tapi berasal dari stimulus instingnya, insting secara instinktual. Makanya hewan atau tumbuhan itu tidak punya kesadaran, tapi punyanya insting. Insting di sini itu dorongan, drive to survive, dorongan untuk bertahan hidup, ya. Jadi bertahan hidup itu menjadi motivasi utama dari hewan maupun tumbuhan. Kalau manusia motivasinya tidak hanya untuk bertahan hidup, ya. Bertahan hidup itu motivasi dasar. Tapi setelah bisa bertahan hidup, mendapatkan kebutuhan-kebutuhan dasar, nanti dia akan naik lagi. Makanya ada hierarchy of needs ala Maslow. Nanti kamu belajar tentang hierarchy of needs dari Abraham Maslow, ya. Dari kebutuhan paling mendasar, ya, sampai kebutuhan yang paling utama. Dari yang mendasar disebut sebagai physiological needs atau biological needs. Manusia cenderung untuk awal-awalnya itu mencari kepuasan dalam bentuk biologis, ya, fisiologis, ya makan, ya minum, ya bereproduksi, menghasilkan anak, ya nikah dan sebagainya, ya kawin, ya, bukan nikah ya, nikah itu ke atasnya lagi. Oke, hewan sama, hewan masih di taraf itu physiological or biological needs. Nah itu instinctual, itu namanya insting alamiah. Ya. Tapi manusia nggak berhenti di biological need, manusia naik lagi, sudah namanya sudah terpenuhi, makan, minum, hasrat seks terpenuhi dan sebagainya, ya. Naik ke kebutuhan selanjutnya, yaitu kebutuhan safe, keamanan, safety needs, keamanan. Oke, kamu bisa makan, kamu bisa minum, kamu punya rumah, tapi kamu di situasi perang, gimana rasanya itu? Oke, nah setelah terpenuhi ya, safety needs, nanti naik lagi, terus seperti itu sampai self actualization, ya, self actualization. Makanya manusia itu dikatakan tidak pernah puas. Kenapa tidak pernah puas? Karena dia akan selalu mencari kebutuhan-kebutuhan sampai tak terbatas itu. Kebutuhan primernya, biologisnya sudah terpenuhi, nggak cukup, dia akan naik ke kebutuhan safety. Safety nggak cukup, dia akan naik menjadi kebutuhan apa namanya, pengakuan. Ya. Pengakuan diakui oleh banyak orang, sudah diakui keberadaannya oleh orang-orang, nggak cukup, terus sampai self actualization namanya ya. Oh, sudah kaya, sudah diakui banyak orang, hidupnya udah aman nyaman, ternyata masih aja pengen jadi politician. Kenapa kok pengen jadi politician sih? Karena pengen apa namanya, memaksimalkan potensinya, karena dia berpikir dia itu pandai mempengaruhi orang dan sebagainya. Nanti sudah jadi politicians, apakah cukup? Tidak, terus saja. Ya. Nah, Abraham Maslow terakhir karyanya itu menambah satu lagi di dalam hierarchy of need, yaitu kebutuhan spiritual. Nah, ini menjawab kenapa manusia nggak pernah puas. Manusia itu kalau dalam agama yang saya tahu ya, manusia itu punya ruh. Ruh itu beda dengan jasad. Jasad itu terbatas, tapi ruh itu nggak terbatas. Sehingga manusia akan selalu mencari ke sesuatu yang nggak terbatas, karena pada hakikatnya dia itu makhluk tidak terbatas. Dia itu makhluk yang transcendence, itu kata. Transcendence itu melampaui fisik, yang melampaui biologis. Ya, hewan, tumbuhan nggak bisa melampaui biologisnya, tapi manusia bisa, karena manusia punya dasarnya yaitu ruh, itu yang sifatnya transcendental, yang sifatnya spiritual. Oke. Next, the subjective conscious experience of individual is the most important. Ya, makanya bagi humanistic point of view, manusia itu menjadi center, manusia itu menjadi pusat. Ya. Makanya kalau kamu dengar ada humanism, itu artinya bahwa manusia itu sebagai pusat, bukan sebagai periferi, bukan sebagai akibat dan sebagainya. Dia sebagai pusat. Nah, yang paling ekstrim itu ya seakan-akan ini ekstrim ya, humanisme ekstrim, manusia itu sebagai pusat, manusia itu yang menentukan dirinya, menentukan alam, menentukan takdirnya dan sebagainya. Itu yang paling ekstrim, sehingga nanti berlanjut sampai ke imperialisme dan sebagainya, itu nantilah ya, kita bahas lagi di bagian profetiknya. Oke. Next, the objective reality is less important than the person's subjective perception. In understanding the world, personally studied from the point of view of individualistic subjective experience. Nah, ini maksudnya bahwa kenapa kok fokusnya kepada manusia? Karena manusia itu yang memaknai segala sesuatu, ya. Bukan pada lingkungannya, bukan pada benda di luarnya, tapi manusianya. Contoh seperti ini. Mamanya di dunia ini bangunannya sudah gede-gede, ada bunga-bunga yang tumbuh indah, bermekaran dan sebagainya, tapi tidak ada manusia. Tidak ada manusia yang memaknai indahnya bunga, yang memaknai megahnya bangunan, yang memaknai segarnya oksigen dan sebagainya. Maka yang terjadi apa? Ya jadi nggak bermakna, meaningless, meaningless. Laptop bagus sekali, laptop dengan apa namanya fitur yang luar biasa canggih, tapi nggak ada manusia yang memakainya. Ya jadi apa? Ya jadi nggak jadi apa-apa, meaningless. So that's why human is the center, because human who name a thing, human who give the meaning of the things. Oke, manusia yang menamai, manusia yang memberikan makna pada segala sesuatu. Oke. Kalau Anda agamanya Islam ya nanti bicara tentang Nabi Adam itu diajari nama-nama. Itu artinya Nabi Adam itu diajari untuk memaknai, ya maknai dunia. Tanpa pemaknaan Nabi Adam, tanpa pemaknaan manusia terhadap dunia, ya maka dunia ya seperti ya nggak bermakna gitu ya. Next. Oh ya, oke. Makanya dari itu humanistic centers is on the human, on the subject. Next, the last assumption is that human is unique, different from the animal. Humanism view human being as a fundamentally different from other animal, mainly because humans are conscious, being capable of thought, reason, and language. So research on such animal can tell us so very little about human thought, behavior, and experience. Nah, karena humans atau manusia itu unik, beda dengan tumbuhan, dengan hewan, maka ya, hasil riset tentang hewan itu tidak bisa diterapkan di manusia. Ya, makanya behavioris itu ditolak mentah-mentah oleh humanism karena ya tadi manusia itu bukan hewan kok, masa kamu eksperimen pada hewan, pada anjing yang dikasih daging, kemudian hari berikutnya kasih daging sama bel, kemudian hari berikutnya dagingnya nggak dikasih, belnya dikasih, ternyata anjingnya berbeliur, artinya anjing belajar kalau bel itu artinya makanan dan sebagainya, lalu diterapkan ke manusia, ya nggak bisa seperti itu. Anjing ya anjing, manusia ya manusia. Dan keanjingan atau kehewanan itu hanya a few part, a little part of human. Ya. Jadi aspek hewan dalam diri manusia itu, ya ada aspek hewan dalam diri manusia, tapi hanya a little part of the human. Ya, manusia punya insting, hewan punya insting, ya sama. Tapi instingnya human itu hanya a little part. Ya. Maka manusia itu terlalu kompleks kalau hanya dibandingkan dengan animal. Ya, oke. Nanti kamu belajar tentang behaviorism di teori belajar. Nanti kamu belajar lagi lebih dalam. Oke. Okay, next, the last is about the advantages of the weak and the weaknesses of this humanistic approach. The first step, it is very good for us because it emphasizes the individual choice and responsibility. It is about the human freedom. It is value the personal ideal, self-fulfillment, value about human uniqueness, yeah. And it's also a flexible framework for observing the human behavior because it considers human in the context of environment in conjunction with the personal perception of feeling. Ya, jadi asli keuntungan atau kebaikan dari humanistik di sini itu memandang ya tetap ada interaksi antara lingkungan dengan manusia, tapi bukan lingkungannya yang diutamakan, ya, tapi bagaimana lingkungan itu dimaknai oleh manusia. Oke, ya. Next, the subjective, the weakness. Nah, sekarang the weakness-nya, kelemahannya. Kelemahannya apa? Terlalu subjektif gitu aja ya. So such an authentic and real experience are difficult to objectify. Jadi kalau konsep tentang kebebasan manusia, tentang apa namanya kepuasan manusia itu kan terlalu subjektif ya, apalagi tadi sudah dibilang manusia itu unik sehingga susah untuk diobjektifkan. Jadi kalau dijadikan namanya penelitian itu susah karena apa ya, terlalu banyak hal-hal yang terlalu subjektif ya, not objective enough, nggak bisa disamaratakan, digeneralisasikan ya. Okay, I think that's all for today. Yeah, thank you very much for your listening. Have a nice day. See you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. If you have any questions, feel free to send the WA in WA group ya. Bye.